So, a very good evening to everyone. Uh, Please let me know I'm audible and visible to you or not through this technical poll. And I'm so sorry for the background sound. Please pardon that. Students, please let me know I'm audible and visible to you or not through this technical poll. Okay, great. Okay, so today we are going to start with our new chapter, that is environmental issues. Please pardon this background sound because some presentation is going on here, so I can't move somewhere. So please adjust today. Okay, so in the environmental issues, what do you exactly know about the environmental issues, right? So let us talk about it. But before that, let me please give me the answer to this question, that what is an desirable, what is an undesirable change in physical, chemical or biological characteristic of air, land, water or soil due to the introduction of contaminants called. Okay, so here we are saying if the contaminants are introduced in any of the part of our environment, either it is water, air, or land, what it will be called, right? So your you can give your answer through this poll. So poll is here. Yadagiri and Kalburgi, please give your answer through this poll. Okay, so Yadagiri has already given answer in the chat, and Kalburgi, I hope Kalburgi has given their answer in poll. So you guys have given your answer option B. Okay, so the option B is pollution, right? If we are adding or if we are making any change which is undesirable to our normal environmental state or ecosystem, that are known as pollution, because that is unwanted for us, right? And pollutions are always unwanted, which leads to the negative or adverse effect to our environment, right? So today we are going to discuss about the type of pollutions, air pollution, measures to control the air pollution, noise pollution, water pollution, the biomagnification, and the eutrophication. So these are the some topics which we are going to introduce today, and we are going to make a good understanding of this. So as you everyone know, that if we introduce something undesirable in an environment, the pollution is appear. So pollution is nothing another than an undesirable change. It is an undesirable change. It can be physical, it can be chemical or a biological, right? And those chemicals or substances which are causing the substances or agents which are causing this pollution are known as the pollutants, right? The pollutant can be anything. The pollutant can be biodegradable or it can be abiodegradable, right? So as you know, this India is a sacred land. Here we worship so many gods, right? And in each and every festival, we use the flowers for the decoration. We do the worship by offering the flowers and so many stuff, right? So whenever on the next day, when we are going to offer the god with the new flowers, we take out the old flowers and throw them in the water body, right? So this introduction of the old flowers and the ashes and the flowers in the water body, it get accumulated over there and start producing and lead to the formation or the growth of the alga, okay, which is leading to the pollution, due to which the water get contaminated and it started harming the aquatic organisms, okay. So we can say the human population explosion, as we are increasing in number. So due to the increase of our number, we are also increased the use of several components, like the food demand has increased, the water demand, home, electricity, every demand is increased, due to which the consumption of plastic has increased, the consumption of plastic has increased, the use of fossil fuel has increased, right? So there are so many things which the use of which has already increased, and the use of such substances and the use of substances which are causing the undesirable change and the mixing of undesirable components inside the environment always leads to the pollution. So we can say the increasing pollution is the effect of our increasing human population. So the explosion of the human population leads to the increased demand, and that increased demand has increased the pollution. Okay, and to limit this pollution, the government has passed an act, a law, or we can say a rule in 1986. That was the environment pollution law, to control the environmental pollution, right? So that the environmental quality can be uh, improved in every means of time. It is improved in air, it is improved in water, and we have to keep the sound, everything is pure. Okay, so now we are going to discuss the first type of pollution, that is air pollution. Okay, and here we are going to understand how this pollution is making effect. So as you know, the air pollution, air is a blanket. Air has the particles of gases, right? But due to the burning, just a minute, beta. Okay, so as you know, the air pollution and the air pollution is famous of Delhi. Everyone knows. Who is not aware of Delhi's pollution? Whenever the winter starts, whenever the winter conditions start or season start, every time, everywhere you can see the pollution of Delhi. It is always in a highlight. Okay, and this air pollution is caused by two types of pollutants. It can be a particulate matter, right, which is unburnt carbon particles, or it can be a gaseous pollutant, which is the oxides. The gaseous particles are the oxides of nitrogen and sulfur. Everyone is aware of that, right? So these oxides are emitting from where? They are emitting from the industries, from the factories, right? From the automobiles, and from the thermal power plant. Okay, thermal power plant, because here we are burning the fossil fuels, and whenever the fossil fuel is burnt, it always leaves the remnant of unburnt carbon, along with that the release of nitrogen and sulfur, right? So the major cause behind the air pollution is the pollutants from the automobile, and for that we have a board, that is Central Pollution Control Board, that is CPCB. This full form is very important. Please keep this full form in mind, that CPCB stands for the Central Pollution Control Board, which says if the particle size, if the particulate matter, or if the particle which is present in our environment is of less than 2.5 micrometer, if it is less than of 2.5 micrometer in diameter, it is most harmful particle for us, right? The particle which is of less than 2.5 micrometer is most harmful for us, because because they can get easily diffused in our bloodstream. Okay, why they are most harmful? Because they can get easily diffused, right? They can get easily diffused in our bloodstream. Okay, so due to which it causes many health issues. Till now everything is clear to you, Talburgi? Everything is clear? Okay. So here we can, as I told you, these particles get mixed with the blood and start moving with the bloodstream. Okay, so due to the movement of particles, they reaches to the different organs. And basically, if the particulate is present in the air, so we normally inhale the air because we have to breathe, we have to take the oxygen. So while inhalation, these particulate matters and the oxides of gases all enters inside our body and through the lungs and the alveoli they get exchanged. Okay, so because the primary site of action for these particulate matter is the lung, the primary site of action for this particulates is the lung, so they causes usually the respiratory problem, right? The respiratory problem, and the most common respiratory problems found nowadays is asthma, bronchitis. All right. So these are some respiratory problems in which the irritation and inflammation in the respiratory tract starts. The irritation and inflammation starts in the respiratory tract, and if we are exposed to these particulate matter for a long period of time, if we stay exposed to this particulate matters for a long period of time, they can also causes the damage of lungs, and damage of lungs leads to the premature death. No one wants to get dead, right? But whatever we are consuming is poisonous, and the poisonous substances always causes the death. Okay, so we have to do what? We have to decrease this air pollution, and this decrease in air pollution can only be done when we control the emission, when we control the emission from the industries, from the factories and the automobiles. Uh, Apart from the effect of this particulate matters, the gaseous matters on the uh, animal, they also have the negative effect on the plants. They reduces the growth of the plant yield and also causes their premature death. As you can see, this is a very uh, healthy plant, and due to the continuous exposure of the uh, heavy metals and the particulate elements or particles to this plant leads to the death of this plant. Okay, so this pollution is not only harmful for animals but it is also harmful for the plants. Is it clear? Okay, now we are moving. If it is clear to you, please give answer to this question. Your question is on what does the harmful effect of pollution depend on? The effect of pollution depends on what? Your option A is the concentration of pollutant and the organism. The concentration, the duration of exposure to pollutant and the organism. Option C says the concentration of pollutant and the duration of exposure, and option D says the organism only. So according to you, on what and what are the factors on which the effect of pollution depends? Okay, so you can give your answer through this poll. I'm launching the poll. Please give your answer as soon as possible. So your time starts now. You have 15 seconds. So you have to give your answer in this 15 seconds. What happened, Kalburgi? Are you not there? You have to give your answer. Okay, so I'm ending the poll as you have not given your answer. So as I was explaining to you, right? As we have the more exposure to the pollutant, right? The effect of that pollutant keep on increasing, right? The harmful effects keep on increasing. So it is depending on the concentration, that how much amount of pollution is there. right? The duration of the pollutant, how much time we are getting exposed to that pollution, and of course the organism, what kind of organism we are, only then we are going to know the effect. Okay, on each and every organism the pollution has different effects. So these are the three factors on which the pollution depends. It is depending on the concentration of the pollutants, it is depending on the duration of the exposure, and on the type of organism, right? So next we are moving what we have to do to control this air pollution. Initially, to control this air pollution, we have to put the filters. We have to put the filters so that the gases which are releasing from, or gases which are emitting from the chimneys of the industries and the factories would not get directly released into the atmosphere. They have to be filtered so that the particulate matters and the harmful gases stay within, stay separated from the atmosphere. Then we have to use the lead free petrol. Okay, we are going to discuss this, why we need to use this lead free petrol, right? Then the use of catalytic converters, and these catalytic converters are fitted in the automobiles, they are present in automobile, so that the exhaust or the emission which is coming from the, due to the burning of petrol and diesel, will reduces the emission of those particulate matters into the atmosphere. Then phasing out of old vehicles, that means as our vehicle keep on getting old, we have, initially we have to keep their maintenance on time, right? Have you ever seen the some scooter or two wheeler is going in front of you, and from the exhaust of that vehicle the black color fumes are coming, right? That is because that person is maintaining the engine and the filters of that vehicle. Okay, so with the olding, with the aging of the vehicle, we have to keep their proper maintenance. And along with that maintenance, if the vehicle is very old, right, which is not supporting the today's fuel system, then we have to replace it. Okay, then we have to use the low sulfur petrol and diesels. You can see petrols are found in two different forms. Either they are the super petrol or the normal petrol. Okay, you have seen two types of pump in the petrol pump. That one is serving normal petrol and one is serving speed petrols. So the speed petrols having the sulfur content, right? But try to avoid the use of these speed petrols. Instead, try to use the normal petrol, which help us to reducing the pollution. Then we also have to follow the pollution norms, which is directed by the government, so that we are not going to violate the any rule. And nowadays, each and every vehicle has been started shifting towards the CNG. Why we are shifting each and every? Why we are shifting each and every vehicle on CNG? Can anyone tell me what is CNG and why we are shifting towards the CNG? Kalburgi, can you give me your answer on chat box? Okay, so let's see. The first is our catalytic converters. These catalytic converters are actually the plates. These are the plates made up of very costly metals. These are platinum, palladium, rhodium, right? These are used, these metals are used as catalyst. Why we are using these metals? Because these metals or these catalysts are capable to convert the unburned hydrocarbons into carbon dioxide and water. So we have reduced the particulate matters emission. Then it also converts carbon monoxide into carbon dioxide. The poisonous gas is now converted into the another form of gas which is not so poisonous, and the nitric oxide is get converted into the nitrogen. Okay, as we have studied, as I have, there was a point in the control of air pollution that we don't have to use the lead petrol, right? I have told you we not have to use the leaded petrol because the lead is the component which leads to the deactivation or inactivation of these catalysts. So lead is the main reason behind the inactivation of the catalyst. See, the lead petrols are usually cheaper as compared to the normal petrol, right? So when this happens, what happened? Due to the cheapest petrol, we always go for the speed petrols, right? The petrol containing the lead content. But what happened? It will leads to the damage of our catalytic converter or the filters which is present in our automobile. So when we keep on using a little cheaper petrol or fuel for our automobile, later it will become a very expensive maintenance expenditure cost, because if the catalytic converter get damaged, obviously if you go to the petrol pump, there is a pollution check machines are there. You have to always every month get your vehicle pollution meter checked, so that we get to know that that catalytic converter is working well. If that get damaged, then you have to replace it, so it is very expensive to replace. Okay, now why we are using CNG? Initially CNG is an ideal fuel, everyone knows. Why it is ideal? Because it is not leaving any remnants, any residues after burning. कोई residues नहीं होते, so no residues. Second thing, it is cheaper than petrol and diesel. It is easily transportable. We can easily transport the CNG. Okay, it burns completely. As I said, no residues are left, and this cannot be siphoned. That means it cannot be theft. Usually, people what do? They connect a pipe from one tank of the automobile to the another tank of the automobile and transfer the petrol and diesel from one automobile to another or one vehicle to another. But if we are having gas, these peoples are unable to transfer the gas from one vehicle to another. So by using the CNG, we are doing two things. We having two benefits. Firstly, we are not polluting our environment, and secondly, it cannot be get theft. It cannot be get siphoned, right? But the main problem of CNG is difficulty of laying down pipelines, as the CNG can only be transported through the pipeline like LPG. Most of the places now LPG is transported or delivered in the form of pipeline instead of those cylinders. Have you know about that? That the LPG nowadays are also transported from one place to another, or it is distributed in a particular colony through the pipelines instead of delivering those gas cylinders. Okay, so this pipeline sometimes get damaged underground and leads to the leakage of gas, and sometimes it causes the explosion. So this is the main reason behind why we are having difficulty of transportation or the availability of CNG. Okay. Next, we have the electrostatic precipitators. These electrostatic precipitators are used in the thermal power plants. They are used for the thermal power plants, and they are used to remove the particulate matters. They are used to remove the particulate matters, and these electrostatic precipitators are very successful because they are able to remove 99% of particulate matter. Let's see how they work. Okay, as you can see here in this picture, some particulate matters are coming. Okay, these particulate matters are bombarded with the electrons. They are bombarded or mixed with the electron. So electrons get attached to the particulate matter. If this is a particulate matter and this is our electron, so this electron get attached to the particulate matter. When this electron get attached to the particulate matter makes it negatively charged. And these plates which are present over here, the plates which are present in this electric precipitators are completely positive charged. They are positively charged. So when this particulate matter, which are negatively charged, passes through these plates, they get attractive towards the plates, and the air, only the gaseous particles can pass through. Okay. So here we have the exhaust or dirty air containing both the gases and the particulate matter. But we have removed the particulate matter, only the gases are the ones who are excreted out or emitted out. Okay. So the as I told you, electron released from the electrode wires attached to the dust particles, okay, and make them negatively charged, where these negatively charged particles are collected or attracted to the positively charged plate, so that the particulate or the unbound carbon molecules, all the dust particles get attached to your plate. As you can see here, there is a deposition of dust particles here. You can see that, right? So these deposition of dust particles makes our air 90% cleaner. Okay. Now we have the scrubbers because the poisonous gases are still there. Poisonous gases are still there. So what we use? We use scrubber, right? These scrubbers have a pump like this is the scrubber. You can see here. This is a pump-like structure in which when the dirty air passes through this pipe, a spray of water and lime water is done here. Whatever gas or oxide is passing through this chamber, it gets dissolved with the water, right? If there is sulfur dioxide, it gets dissolved with the water and form the sulfuric acid. So only after the dissolving of oxide with the water, what left? The clean air. So by using the scrubber, we releases the clean air into the atmosphere. But there is a disadvantage of scrubber, that these scrubbers these scrubbers are not successful for removing the particulate matters, as electronic or electric precipitators are not successful on gaseous particle. In the very same way, the scrubbers are not successful for the particulate matters. The electric precipitators are used for the particulate matters in the thermopower plant, whereas the scrubbers are used to remove specifically the sulfur dioxide gas by spraying the water and the lime. Is it clear to you? Okay. If it is clear to you, please give the answer to this question. And your question is, where are the catalytic converters fitted? Where we fit the catalytic converters? Your option A is plants, B automobile, C electrostatic precipitator, and D is cycle. So you can give your answer through this poll where these catalytic converters are found. Kalburgi, you need to give your answer. Okay. So time is running. Please hurry and give your answer. Okay. Great. So you have marked the option B. Okay. And this option B is 100% correct. Right now we have just studied that catalytic converters are fitted inside the automobiles to remove the particulate matters or the unburnt carbon particles, as well as some oxides of the gases from the exhaust. Okay. Now we are moving towards the noise pollution. Okay. How the noise pollution is formed? The noise pollution is the level of sound which crosses the desirable limit. When we increases the volume, and when the volume of any sound become pleasant to unpleasant, right? When the music or whenever the volume of your sound started become unpleasant, from the pleasant one it get converted into the noise. Now your music also become noise to some people. If you like to hear the music at a very loud sound, so that is not the music, that is noise for other people. Okay. And in 1981 the government has released the Air Prevention and Control Pollution Act in 1981, in which they made an amendment. Later, after 6 years, they made a change in 1981 Act and included the noise pollution in air pollution also. Okay. So amendment takes place in 1987. The act was passed in 1981 initially, and during that amendment or after that amendment, they included noise as a air pollution. Okay. So the air pollution is caused when the sound exceeds the 120, when the sound is more than 120 decibels, right? And around 150 decibel sound is produced when there is a takeoff of a jet plane and the rocket. If you have seen the launch of any rocket on the Geography Channel or Discovery Channel, you have seen the scientists or astronauts are always wearing the headgears, right? That headgears are required because otherwise this such amount of sound will cause the damage to the eardrum. This loud sound causes the damage to eardrum, and the person will lead to the permanent hearing, will permanent it will be having a permanent hear loss. Okay. So the noise pollution can be caused through the music instrument, the loudspeaker, the crackers, the firecrackers you burn on the occasions of festivals or any uh, celebrating occasions, and through the industry due to the noise of the machines. Okay. So machines. Now we have the danger. As you know, the noise is there. Noise is not only causing the psychological issues, but it is also causing the physiological issues. Okay. So noise pollution is able to create physiological as well as psychological issues to a human. It leads to the hypertension. It leads to the hypertension, sleeplessness, sleeplessness or insomnia. Okay. And the temporary hair loss or a permanent hair loss. Okay. And these all these stressful conditions always lead to the negative effect on the growth and the mental health of an individual. Okay. How can we stop this noise pollution? To stop this noise pollution, we have to stop the unwanted honking. Some people enjoy the making honks, right? Whenever if some automobile is present, a car is standing in front of you, right? You are riding a bike, some car is present in front of you due to some reason or on a traffic signal. Just traffic signal got green. You have to wait for at least 2-3 seconds so that the automobile which is present in front of you get start their engine and move. But no, you don't have any patience. You keep on honking, pa, 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 keep on honking so that that person will start its vehicle early. But that is wrong practice because that honking is unwanted. The time required to start the engine is there only. It is 2 seconds or 3 seconds. You have to be patient for that much of time. Okay. Then restrict the loudspeaker levels. As you know, nowadays in bigger countries, bigger events are taking place, and in bigger events, always there is a loud music playing. So government has restricted a time limit. They have created a time limit for the music to be played. Or specifically, if the event is taking place in a residential area, so the loudspeaker has to be shut down by the 10 p.m. Okay, then the noisy machines has to be installed in a soundproof chamber, or they have to be installed in a region which is not a residential area. Okay, so industries and factories has to be installed away from the residential area. Then siren use only emergency services, right? This is not only applicable for the humans or for the normal citizen, but it's also applicable on the PCR vans and ambulance and also the fire brigade. If they are not going to serve the emergency situation, then they are not allowed to uh, switch on the sirens and keep on ringing that siren. Okay, they also get fined for this unwanted use of siren. Then silent zone has to be created. The silent zone has to be created. That means the place where you can silently stay and wait. And to avoid or to reduce the noise pollution, we also have to plant more trees. We also have to plant more trees, because trees are able to absorb the sound. Trees are able to absorb the sound. Okay, so you have seen nowadays on the edges, on the sides of the road, more government has started installing more and more plants, so that the sound which is produced by the vehicles get absorbed, and the residents, the people who are residing there, would not have any hearing problem in a future. Okay, okay. So for that, as you know, the particle population is keep on increasing and the demand is increasing. People have started taking so many vehicles in, you can say, if 5 members are in a family, at least 4 vehicles they have, right? Either it can be two-wheeler or a four-wheeler. Minimum 4 vehicles are present in each and every family, due to which if each and every member of a family goes through their separate automobile or vehicle, then each and every vehicle will helping to increase the population. Okay, for that the Indian government has introduced a policy, and the policy says we have to cut down the pollution or the vehicular pollution, specifically in Indian cities. You know what? The Delhi itself, okay, it is also given in your NCRT. Delhi itself contains the 3 crore people. The population of Delhi is 3 crore, which can be a combination of Kolkata and Chennai. Okay, when we put them together, then the Delhi population still crossing their sum. So if the population is so much for a smaller region, we can understand how much pollution these vehicles are causing, right? So according to the Euro 2 norm and Euro 3 norm, instead it is a Euro 3 norm, they said we have to control the sulfur content at the 350 parts per million level, and the diesel. We have to control the sulfur content in diesel up to 350 parts per million, whereas in petrol we have to control it till 150 ppm, because the levels of hydrocarbons present is more than 55%. So we have to reduce it to up to at least 42%. And the limit which is set now, that is 350 ppm and 150 ppm, in future it has to be reduced to the 50 ppm in petrol and diesel. Okay, by bringing down the levels up to 35%. And this is the most required step in our society. Okay, and we also need to upgrade our vehicles according to the changing fuels, right? So this table is given in your NCRT, which shows now the four-wheelers which are producing nowadays are according to the Bharat Stage 4. Bharat Stage 4 is equal to the Euro 3 stage. Okay. Now the automobiles which are developing in the India are according to the Euro 3 stage, and they are implemented this production of vehicles according to the Euro 3 stage from the April 2017. And still some vehicles are there who are driving on the petrol and diesel, but slowly and steadily they are making the changes. Okay. So this is the question for you. What amount of noise may damage the eardrums, thus permanent impairing hearing ability? What amount of the noise can cause the permanent hearing loss? Your option A is 10 decibel, B 150 decibel, C 15 decibel, and D 50 decibel. You have to find out of these four options what is the exact amount of sound which is causing a permanent hearing impairment in an individual. So I'm launching the poll. Please give your answer. What is your answer? Option A 10 decibel, option B 150 decibel, option C 15 decibel, or option D 50 decibel. Okay, very good. It was a very quick response. I appreciate it. I'm very happy for this, that you have marked the option B, and option B is correct. As I've told you, 150 decibel sound can cause a permanent hearing impairment by damaging the hearing drums or eardrums, because it is produced during the takeoff of jet planes and the launch of the rockets. Right now, we are moving towards the next type of pollution, that is the water pollution. So how this water pollution is caused? This water pollution is caused when we start throwing each and everything in our water. It can be your industrial waste, right? It can be your kitchen waste, your household waste, sewage waste is there. Okay? So whatever waste we are throwing in our water, it is causing a pollution, because this waste is not going to be get eliminated from the water on its own. So it persists there, and its persistence always leads to the effect or harmful effect to the aquatic organisms. The oil spill are also there. The oil spills mostly takes place in the sea and ocean. Okay, so according to the government and the, we can say, the boards, it is found that if our water has 0.11% impurity present in it, if at least 0.1% impurity is still there in a water, that water is unfit for the human use. Only the 0.1% impurity is making the water unfit for us. And these impurity include the suspended soils like sand, silt, and clay, colloidal material like fecal material, bacteria, cloth, and paper fiber, dissolving the paper in a water. And the third is dissolved material such as nutrient like nitrate, ammonia, phosphate, sodium, and calcium. You have seen the groundwaters are usually hard water due to the presence of calcium and sodium in it, right? Apart from that, when we are doing agriculture and you are keep on using fertilizer at a very large amount, and during the irrigation, sorry, during the irrigation, those fertilizer get dissolved in the water and start running through the field and mixes with the nearby river or any water body, or sometimes it is get absorbed by the earth. So it is also leading excessive use of the fertilizer. You have given fertilizer to provide nutrient to your plants, but these nutrients when start getting accumulated inside the water, they leads to the pollution. Okay, so this can be seen by the help of this graph. As you can see, the blue line and the red line. This is the point where you have a sewage discharge. Okay, when you start releasing the sewage waste into the water, suddenly the BOD, that is biological oxygen demand, increases. Okay, suddenly the biological oxygen demand increases. Okay, but the dissolved oxygen which is present in the water decreases. As I said, the biological oxygen demand is increasing because the microbes which are present in that polluted water is consuming those pollutants. And if the microbes are consuming the pollutants, they are doing the metabolic activity. And for the metabolic activity, we require oxygen, right? So as the amount of pollution increases in the water, the microbial growth increases because they are keep on metabolizing that pollutant. And when they keep on metabolizing a higher amount of pollutant, the oxygen which is present in the water is consumed by the microorganism. That is how the dissolved oxygen level decreased, and the demand is not the oxygen, it is the demand, it is the need of the oxygen is get extremely high. But as the water keep on getting pollutant free, as the water started getting pollutant free, the BOD started decreasing, right? Whereas the amount of dissolved oxygen started increasing because the microbial growth has come under control due to the reduction of the pollutant. So we can say the pollutant, the amount of pollutant is directly proportional to the amount of oxygen. Amount of pollutant is inversely proportional to the amount of oxygen present in water, right? Whereas it is the amount of pollutant is directly proportional to the BOD. The larger the pollutant amount, the larger is the BOD. If the pollutant amount is less, the BOD is also less. So is it clear to you, Bakalburgi? If it is clear to you, please show the thumbs up sign, or you can give your response in a chat box. Okay. So the sewage water which is polluting our water bodies initially has to be treated. And the treatment has done on two phases, the primary and the secondary phase, right? It is done on the two phases, the primary phase and the secondary phase. In the primary phase, we are doing the physical filtration. We are doing the physical filtration. Whereas in the secondary treatment, we are doing the chemical and the biological treatment. Okay. In the primary treatment, we are providing the physical treatment or the filtration. In secondary treatment, we are doing the chemical and the biological treatment. Okay. So what happens in the primary phase? In the primary treatment, we have to remove all the suspended particles. We have to remove all the big particles which are present in, or the substance which are present in the water, such as the wrappers, the rocks, the bottles, the paper, right? Each and every big particle has to be get removed by the help of this mesh. You can see here the mesh is present. So this mesh helps as a filter, which removes all the big particles, right? After that, the sewage water or the impure water further moves. Now, this movement of the water through this tank having turbine increases the oxygen dissolving. Okay, aeration, it is increasing the aeration. Then we move to this water to a tank. We have moved this water to a tank where the water remains suspended for some time. Here, the water remains stagnant for some time so that the pollutants, so that the big pollutant particles get suspended. Okay. So after these particles get suspended, the rest water start moving towards the secondary treatment. Okay, we have released the water or smudge to the secondary treatment. In secondary treatment, we are applying a good amount of oxygen because here we have introduced the microorganism. We have introduced the microorganism to this wastewater so that the organic matter which is present in the sewage is consumed or metabolized by the microorganism, right, and make our water purified. It is not harmful. Okay, so this is how this treatment of sewage water done. So the remove initial stage, on the initial stage, the removal of dissolved material like organic compound and the toxic metals is most important and the most difficult task. So the domestic sewage contains the biodegradable organic matter, which is decomposed by the microorganism during the secondary treatment. Okay. And during secondary treatment, the amount of biodegradable organic matter in sewage water is estimated by the measuring BOD, or we can say the biological or biochemical oxygen demand, because this is directly proportional to the growth of microorganism. Right? So during biodegradation, microorganisms consumes oxygen, which results in the sharp decline in the dissolved oxygen. We have seen the graph there. The amount of dissolved oxygen decreased sharply, whereas the BOD increased, which is causing to the death of aquatic organism. And this same condition appears when your water is more nutrient. When the water or the water bodies start becoming aged, so the nutrient level in that aged water body started increasing. So due to the high nutrient content, the algal growth starts, which is known as planktonic alga. You have seen if some place has a stagnant water, after 10-15 days, you can see the green patches present over the water. The green patches start appearing on the water. Those green patches are the algal bloom. These are the excessive growth of the alga. And this excessive growth of alga start consuming the oxygen from the water. Now, this excessive consumption of oxygen from the water makes the water oxygen deficient for the aquatic animals, due to which the aquatic animals die, and it also releases the toxins inside the water, which make the water unfit for humans as well as for aquatic animals. Okay, so here is your question: who utilizes the maximum amount? Who utilizes the maximum amount of oxygen in the upstream of sewage discharge? When we release the sewage, okay, In the treatment plant, sewage treatment plant, due to the presence of which the oxygen demand increases. Your option A is animal, option B microorganism, option C human, and option D plants. You can give your answer in this poll, that the growth of which leads to the increase in the oxygen demands. A animal, B microorganism, C human, and D plant. Give your answer. Okay, so the answer is microorganism. We have seen the sewage water has to be treated. So during the treatment, the secondary treatment, we were using microorganisms, right? And those microorganisms leading to the excessive consumption of oxygen due to their metabolic activity, right? And when the metabolic activity increases, the demand for the oxygen also increases. Okay, so maximum utilization of oxygen in the sewage discharge is indication of the presence of large amount of microorganism. Okay, so is it clear to you, Kalburgi? So this is all we are going to do today, and from tomorrow we are going to continue the class, right? So till now, whatever I have teased, the air pollution, noise pollution, and water pollution, is it clear to you? If is it clear to you, please give your feedback or response to this NPS poll. Your feedback is very necessary for me. Please give your feedback. And if you have any doubt, please leave the doubt in your chat box. Okay. Okay. So in a 5 second, I'm going to end this poll. Okay. So this is all for today. We'll continue our class tomorrow. Okay. With the continuation of this topic, that is the water pollution. Okay. So this is all for today. Thank you for the class, and we'll see you tomorrow.